World Cup. You know, when we watch a game, we're completely glued to the players on the field. But the real story? It's literally holding up the roof over your head.
Okay, to really grasp this, we've got to go back to 2006 and talk about the sheer unimaginable scale of this place. The owners didn't just want a football field. They demanded a year-round, fully climate-controlled mammoth of a facility spanning almost 3 million square feet, seating around 80,000 people. At the time, an ambition like that was completely unprecedented.
Just to put that massive scale into perspective for a second, the interior volume here is so huge, you could literally drop the entire Great Pyramid of Giza right in the middle and still have room to stretch your legs. And the height? If you took the Statue of Liberty off her pedestal and stood around the 50-yard line, her torch wouldn't even scrape the ceiling. It is honestly a breathtaking cavern of space.
But here's the real mystery we're unpacking today. How on earth do you build and then safely move a 1,500-ton retractable roof across a 30-degree curved slope? Let that sink in. That weight is the equivalent of dragging 20 fully loaded Boeing 737 passenger jets uphill. It sounds like an absolute physics nightmare, right? Well, the headache started with a strict, non-negotiable rule. Since they wanted this to be a premier venue for basically everything, the architect was told no interior pillars. None. Zero. They'd block the fan's view. Now, a normal roof over a space this massive, it absolutely relies on support columns. But here, that was completely off the table.
So, without those traditional pillars, the architects had to figure out how to safely suspend a staggering 2,100 tons in midair. Because, actually, it wasn't just the 1,500-ton roof panels up there. They also had to hang an eye-watering 600,000-kilogram LED screen right from the center. Just an unbelievable amount of weight.
Which brings us to the seemingly impossible question. How do you support over 2,000 tons of crushing weight without a single column holding it up from below? The engineering teams literally tested dozens of ideas. Prototype after prototype just failed. They desperately needed a miracle.
And surprisingly, that miracle came from 1875, courtesy of Gustave Eiffel. Yep, the exact same guy who built the Eiffel Tower. Way before his famous Parisian landmark, Eiffel had to figure out how to cross Portugal's treacherous Douro River without putting any support pillars in the fast-moving water. His solution was a massive, completely pillarless parabolic steel arch bridge.
Eiffel's secret was this brilliant piece of geometry, the truss system. See, if you look closely at that bridge, it is packed with thousands of interconnected triangles. Unlike squares that'll deform or rectangles that just twist under pressure, a triangle holds its shape perfectly. It uses that unbreakable strength to distribute immense forces instead of just buckling under the load. Fast forward to the 21st century. Modern engineers took Eiffel's geometry and scaled it up to a mind-blowing degree. We're talking 2 massive steel arches, each 1,400 feet long and 14 feet thick, anchored into 4 giant concrete foundations. But, as you know, Texas heat is brutal and steel expands, so they had to add specialized expansion joints that act like massive shock absorbers. Otherwise, that thermal expansion would literally crack those concrete foundations to pieces. Okay, so the arches are up, the views are totally clear, and the enormous space is covered. Job done, right? Not quite. Now the team faced a terrifying new hurdle, figuring out how to reliably and quickly open and close this gigantic structure. And remember, those massive steel arches are on a serious slope. Because of that steep 30-degree angle, trying to move 1,500 tons, which by the way is the weight of about 10 blue whales, using traditional winch cables was a monumental risk. Gravity was constantly fighting them. If even one single winch moved a fraction of a second faster than the others, it risked an unbalanced lift. You get a catastrophic cable snap, and then total structural collapse. They were literally fighting physics. Once again, history threw them a lifeline, this time from a mountain-climbing businessman in 1869 named Sylvester Marsh. He watched hikers struggling up Mount Washington in New Hampshire and thought, there's got to be a way to get steam trains up these steep slopes safely. He needed a system that wouldn't just slip backward like traditional friction wheels would. His invention was the rack and pinion system. Instead of relying on friction or highly stressed steel cables, the stadium uses 130 electric motors, each cranking out 7.5 horsepower to drive matching pinion gears right into fixed, toothed rails on the roof. They physically lock the massive panels into place. It's exactly like that click, click, click safety mechanism you hear when a roller coaster is climbing a steep hill.
And thanks to that incredibly elegant 19th century invention, the threat of a catastrophic cable snap was completely eliminated. Today, one of the absolute heaviest movable roofs on planet Earth can fully open or close, perfectly balanced and perfectly smooth, in just 12 minutes. Absolutely wild. So the roof is moving perfectly. But now, engineers are staring down another giant headache, taming the brutal Texas summer. When that roof shuts, they have to maintain a comfortable temperature inside an interior volume of nearly 3 million cubic meters. For a little context, that's like trying to air condition 75,000 average-sized living rooms all at once. To put that math into perspective, the cooling power needed for the stadium is physically equivalent to air conditioning 3 distinct skyscrapers, each the exact size of the Burj Khalifa, from top to bottom simultaneously. I mean, your standard home AC unit has maybe 2 to 4 tons of cooling capacity. This is on another planet entirely. To conquer that unimaginable volume, they installed an 11,000-ton chiller system. They use the simple physics that cold air is heavier than warm air, pushing that heavy cold air straight down onto the fans while the warm air naturally rises to be recycled. Combine that with this 600,000-kilogram suspended LED screen packed with 10 million LEDs and massive 12-story glass doors, weighing 86,000 kilograms a section that actually operate on that same trusty 1869 railway tech. It's just a masterclass in extremes. Now, fast forward to today, because this megastructure is facing its next great evolution. The upcoming 2026 World Cup is throwing an entirely new, unexpected hurdle at them. They have to expand their seating capacity from roughly 80,000 to a massive 94,000 spectators for the tournament. But the real problem isn't just cramming more people into the stands, it's what's happening down on the pitch. The home team normally plays on artificial turf, which totally makes sense for an indoor venue. But FIFA? They strictly forbid artificial or even hybrid turf. So the stadium somehow has to support a real, living grass pitch inside a mostly enclosed venue that gets very limited natural sunlight. To solve this, they've engineered a high-stakes agricultural supply chain. It's crazy. The grass is actually cultivated far away at a dedicated farm in Colorado. Then just days before a match, it's shipped over to Texas in fleets of refrigerated trucks. Finally, it's installed onto a specialized stadium floor that has to be raised by 6 inches just to fit custom water drainage and artificial UV lighting to keep the grass alive. When you step back and look at everything it took to build and maintain this facility, it is just staggering. By mashing up 19th century railway tech, Gustav Eiffel's brilliant bridge geometry from 1875, and extreme modern climate control, this building proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it is far more than just a place to watch sports. It's a living, breathing monument to human problem solving. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The next time you sit down to watch a 2026 World Cup match, or really any event in one of these modern mega venues, you've got to ask yourself, what unseen engineering miracles and what 150-year-old brilliant ideas are quietly holding it all together right above your head? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and thanks for joining me on this explainer.